Okay, so this assignment is going to be a little bit more free. So you can combine what you have already learned and maybe use the links for the videos below this one. Those are optional, so if you want to learn more, you can use them, but otherwise, you can follow my process here and then contact me via Teams if you have something in your mind that you would like to create, and I could help you with that. So please send me a message if you have something in mind and this video doesn't answer it. I am going to start by opening my background image. So I'm gonna go to File and then Open, and I have my photo on my desktop. Um, Here. I'm going to add my layer. So I'm going to start by opening my layers window here from the window panel and layers. And now I have my background layer here, which is the photo. So what I am going to do is that I'm going to remove this lock from here by double clicking my layer, and I'm going to name it landscape, like so. So now you have already some basic knowledge about layers, but what we haven't really talked about a lot is adjustment layers. Preferably you did watch the video where um, it was explained, adjustment layers were explained. But once again, you can add any of the adjustments from this icon here. So you have your basic brightness levels and so on. So why we want to do the adjustments from with layer adjustment layers is that those are not so permanent. So if I, for example, do adjustment layer, and let's put this like really vivid red. So my landscape, my original landscape is still the original landscape. And this is only an adjustment layer. So it's going to affect my picture, but it's not permanent. So I can do any changes here. And briefly with the mask, so this is now white. So this is the mask that I have for this photo. So with masks, you wanted to use white and black color. So if I have white layer mask, it's going to be, the adjustment is going to be visible everywhere. It's going to cover the whole entire picture. So now if I paint, I have my opacity in 100. I'm going to also put this to 100 and then have a little bit bigger. Let's go actually a little bit closer. So I'm going to select my mask and I'm going to paint with black, like this. So now you can see that with black color you can make this adjustment layer invisible so that the landscape is going to be visible. If I would have this adjustment layer as black, I could do it by inverting it. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to select CMD and then I for that one, or Control and I. So that's going to be the opposite way. So now I can paint with white and it's going to be visible, the adjustment I mean. So what I want to do with my landscape now, let's actually go a bit backward. And I'm going to create, once again with layers, because that was kind of like my favorite adjustment, so I'm going to use that one. And I am going to think about my sky first. So I'm going to have a reddish sky. So I want the color to be kind of natural, so that it could actually be red. And I'm going to adjust it more with the blue channel. And I am only looking at the sky, so I don't pay any attention to my grass, because I'm going to have this um, color affecting only the sky. And I'm just going to play with this. I'm going to test how each go. Maybe I want it to be a little bit darker. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to go back to my layers window. I can also like put this away with collapse icon, the little arrows. And now I'm going to take my black brush and I am going to paint over this. So now firstly I have opacity to 100 and I'm going to paint over my mask here so that this is going to be totally green. And I am leaving a little bit here because I'm just going to decrease hardness and opacity a little bit so that the edge wouldn't be so hard. So I want it to be natural. And I'm going to lower this even more, like so, and maybe even go further like this. So now you can see that with the layer mask you have white area for the areas that are that have the pink color that I just created, and the black areas are not affected at all. And now I'm going to make another one for this grassy, like the trees, and I'm going to have another adjustment layer, once again with levels. You can use something else if you want. And now I'm going to think about the this area, only this one, the front of the image. I actually kind of like it already. I think it's quite nice. Don't want it to be too extreme. Like so. And now the other way around. You can, I have like both of the changes that I did are like pinkish, but you can have like different hues if you want, different colors, different, you can do any kind of editing. Sorry for that. So what I was saying is that I'm going to paint once again with black color, and I'm going to paint over this, and I will have my opacity to 100, and then I can paint over the mask. So now what I can do is that I can go to levels here, and then I can go back and change it. So for example, if I want this sky to be a totally different color, for example turquoise, I can do that now. So I can go back and forth anytime I like. But now I have my levels affecting my landscape. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a copy of this cloud, because I want this. Actually, before that I am going to use my crop tool and I'm going to add a little bit more space here. And if I want the sky to be repeated here, I am going to use my marquee tool and make a selection here. And then I'm going to go to select the mask and add a lot of feather here so that the edge wouldn't be hard, like so, and okay. So now I'm going to hide these levels, and I'm going to modify my photo with only the background layer, the landscape layer, and I'm going to add a couple of more times with Alt pressed down, or maybe Option in your case, not sure if you have PC or Mac. But now with CMD or Control pressed down, I will press D like David, and now I will have my sky that is now a little bit bigger. So now if I have this, so this little line is that I need to, because if I look at the mask here, I have a little white area on the top of the mask, so I'm just going to edit it by painting over it. So what I was saying about the cloud, so I'm going to make a copy of this section here because I want to have something here. So I'm going to make a copy of my cloud. I'm going to go use marquee tool and then quick selection tool with a minus option, and I can make it a little bigger. Okay, so now I have my cloud selected, and I'm going to make a copy of it by pressing CMD or Control plus C, and I'm going to make another layer and then paste it there. So now I have my extra layer, and I can see that it's there by, let's lock this actually. This is my cloud. So now with the cloud layer, I have it here. And now it's easier for me to edit it, for example, with eraser, because I want this edge here to be invisible, so I can erase it a bit. I also want to make a reflection of it, so that it's not in the same way as the other cloud. So I'm going to press CMD plus T, and I'm going to turn it the other way, like this. So CMD plus T, and you can resize it like so. All right. Okay, and now I want to add the planet. So I'm going to open my planet file with file open, and planet, which is here. Let's see how this goes. And I am going to make a selection with first, maybe quick selection tool. I'm going to start by using that. Yeah, it worked perfectly. And I'm going to make a copy of it by selecting CMD and C. And then I will go back to my other layer, other photo file, and then I will add my planet here. Actually, I want to do some adjusting here with it, make the edge a bit smoother. And then reset it again. So it's going to have its own layer here. So now I can name it to my planet. It's important for you that you have a clear layer structure so that you know where everything is. And now I could actually flip it around. So I'm going to hover my mouse on the corner, and I'm going to flip it like this and make it small. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add or remove, not remove, change the position of this layer like this. So now I have the adjustments affecting my planet, and I actually want this to be not affected with the planets. So I am going to make some adjusting here. First I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, like so. Make my cloud layer less transparent. And I will actually do a little bit of erasing here. It's like a foggy feeling. And now with the levels I am going to make it so that this will not be affected. And now I will do some editing with my planet, and I'm going to create a mask for it because I want to edit the edge of the planet. So I'm going to create a mask for it. I would also use eraser tool, but I want to use a mask so that if I make any mistakes I will not make any permanent changes. So I'm going to add a mask for this planet layer, and I'm going to go really close to it. And now I can affect my planet, and I'm going to use the black paint for it, and then lower the opacity a little bit. I can just paint over this. Like so. Now it looks a little bit more natural. But this is also too, I think it's too vivid. So I'm going to make some changes here with hue saturation. So I'm going to press CMD plus U, and I'm going to lower the opacity of the planet. I can also change the hue, so if I want it to be another color, I can do that, but I was pretty happy with this. Okay, and actually I need to turn this. So this could be okay like this, but now I want to add even something more. So I want to add some birds, so I'm going to once again open a new file, and I'm going to choose my file with the birds, which is this one, and I'm going to select this bird here. So with the quick selection tool, let's select this. Otherwise it's okay. And I'm going to once again go to select and mask. It's alright. Okay, so okay. And then CMD and C. And then once again I will add my bird here. And now I will affect it. I will drag it firstly here, and then I can make it by locking these, I will make sure that these will not be moved, so it's easier for me to affect my bird. I can make some little changes with, let's not go too much into detail with this one, but if you want to, you can add even more effects to this specific layer. So in my case, I'm going to add a layer style in the layers window. In the bottom of the window, you have a add a layer style. So I am going to add firstly inner shadow. So I have a little bit more shadow under the bird. I can affect how it, what is the direction of the shadow, and which is the blend mode for the color. And I will use the multiply actually, and I can even change how much I want it to be, how much of the color I want there to be added. We could talk about for ages with this one, but yeah, just briefly go. I'm just going to briefly mention this. You can learn more about these layer styles with the instructional videos with that I will add below this video. And also I'm going to add some inner glow, so I'm going to have more light on the top of the bird. And I can just test what looks best. I think this is actually the best one for me. So I'm going to select that one. And okay, so now if I look at the bird, this with these little changes, it fits more into my picture. Okay, it could be smaller. It's like rather big. I'll make it smaller. And now with the same, another thing that I could do with my bird so that it wouldn't be so sharp, even though it's a small element, I want it to be a little bit blurry because it's farther in the picture. So I'm going to select the bird layer, and then I will go to filter blur and Gaussian blur, and I will add some blur, just a little bit, not that much. And okay. And now I can add even more birds and other stuff to my picture. So now I have more birds. You can add even more elements, but your purpose is to create, or your assignment is to create a like a fantasy world. It can be really extreme, or it can be subtle like mine, so it doesn't have like bunch of stuff going on, but it has something added. So at least one element added, and then you have used adjustment layers. And you should return your assignment as PSD file. So use Photoshop format. Name it clearly with your name and fantasy world. So like this. And then also make another copy with JPEG. So have two pictures, like one picture and one working file format.